This picture here is a picture of the cosmos, or a human cell. You know, there's sometimes in your life where you remember things, and I clearly remember when I was younger, I asked my mom, where is heaven? Everywhere. I knew that I didn't know anything about it and figure it out, or try to anyways. All I knew was that I had to get there. I came up with this conclusion because what the Bible says, that the camel going through the eye of a needle. So you supposedly use quantum physics to look at it when it's really, really small. It's so small, if you looked at a cell, your own cell, a human cell, a neuron, when you got it up close, you'd see it and it's 80% full of water. It's really this big because it sort of orbits all around it. It's got all of this, the same like, you know, the sun, and the little dots here are all the different planets or little stars. Interestingly, when an electron jumps from one orbit to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, finally they get out. That's known as the sugar code of the cell. We have all these sugars inside of it. The light travels along the sugar code and goes inside. If it doesn't follow that particular frequency pattern, it could be different shapes, everything, it doesn't get in. So that's called hydration, when the water can get in there. It's supposed to go really, really fast when you're young. When it gets older, there's all this crap on the outside. The signaling is all messed up, so that's not making life very good. So I figured that heaven is when life is good. It's when you're young. Heaven is also when the water is on the inside. Energy is flowing fast everywhere. I think hell is on the outside and trying to get in, and you can't. What I came to the conclusion is I had to understand quantum physics. I had to believe about the genes, and I started about the genes. So that answered this big argument with my mom at the beginning was about Dharma. No, God created us. Well, when you look at what the scientists are saying, there's a certain amount of proof in what they're saying. She didn't want to hear about Dharma. When you look at the CSI and the DNA mapping, it's hard to believe we're 99% the same as the chimpanzee. There's got to be something else that's different. It came to me, in chimpanzees, there wasn't that many of these light patterns getting through to the neuron. They're genetically the same as us, except that these neurons don't go in. It makes them look different, behave different, all of those things. So the number of frequency light patterns that are in us a lot more than what's in a chimpanzee. And that's what essentially makes us different. If you believe humans are to have dominion over this earth, that would mean the light of God that's within us, we should also try to enhance it, make it better, try to put it in others. That's when you get into this nanotechnology. When the first pictures made of the DNA was with this crystalline solution in this middle right here. When you marry a pure crystal. But I do know that when there's more of this and there's more gold, that's what your nucleus is made out of. All this energy that's emitting out of here, when you're a child, you duplicate yourself 500,000 times a minute. As you get older, the process slows down quite a bit till you don't make any more. So I think that heaven is when you're able to make more. From that first cell that you make, the neuron, and you make the neural tube, and then you make all these pathways. So when some of this water that's in here, when you're born with it, it's 80% or 90%. Every neuron in your body is mostly all water. When the water gets out and doesn't get back in, that's called dehydration. When everything works good inside of you, that means that there's at least 2/3 water on the inside of the cell. I believe that God wanted us to put this light waves into ourselves. I think that we're supposed to manufacture this light and not only find out how to make it better for us, for children, for all the animals and the plants. The scientist that I work with, he grew a zucchini 8 feet long. This bottle of water here, it really hydrated one cancer patient. Joe, the scientific, said, I don't understand how your water is so clean without chlorine or ozone. Must be the crystals. They used this crystal in the Second World War and telecommunications, and that's why the Allies won. They had better sight. They could see the enemy, and the enemy couldn't see them on the radar screen. So inside of us, when this light doesn't flow good, and whatever food that's supposed to get in doesn't get in, that cell dies. I believe when you're sick, these cells, they die or they go dormant, they form some other way of being, and different frequencies would be misguiding lights, many different things as to what can go wrong with it. But I think that key to finding heaven here inside of your body is when that light can flow through good. And I think that a big key factor to making that light go through good, it's not up to me alone to create it. You know, it's true, I made this little warehouse where I make this water and drink the water. I feel good when I do drink it. I really wanted it to be an accomplishment, not for money, but for the betterment of mankind. There's many ways of analyzing this light, these guiding light frequencies, and this whole spectrum of light. What is in that black space? There's got to be something, some sort of form of energy, some sort of wave pattern. And when we're young, all of this wave patterns easily flows in and out, and it's good. I don't think it's that hard for humanity to do this in a small way right now. I think that in the future, you're going to do it much, much better. But I think that humanity can make heaven here on earth through the water when we scientifically create it and consume it through drinks and the food that we eat. We work with the farmers, scientists, and doctors. Tell us. I don't know if you believe everything that flows through water feeds the brain. Do you believe that fish feed the brain? I don't know who out there would like this idea of not only making ourselves younger, but creating a heaven within by the water that we drink, what we consume. So if you have a business and you make some agreement with somebody that a certain percentage of that work gets done, you know, both you and the person who had this work agree to put it in a pot. And that pot is to make this food and this water possible, not only for ourselves, but for everybody. And we have a mechanism in society today to bring health into this part of us. This is the key to heaven, is feeding the neurons, making us feel young, getting through the aqua orange, the gates of heaven. Whatever is going through that little thing has to go in and out very quickly. So the key to hydration isn't how pure the water is, distilled water or whatever. It's how much energy it has and what you can do to make that water better, not only within your bone body, but within your own homes, in the Great Lakes, everywhere. And as a plumber, I think that, I'm getting old. I can do some of the work myself now, no problems. I would like to see a change in the way plumbing is done, and especially here in the GTA. Anybody who also thinks the same would like to try in something like this? When we have 12,000 people together, that's when we can create the kingdom. Kingdom is anybody who can help to make this a reality, that we have a mechanism for feeding 80% of the people living off $1 a day, that we can make homes for ourselves. We start from within. If you can feel good, I think that you can feel like you can do something back in society. And young people today, don't go to war. Try to keep on to your youth, keep on to your vitality. Figure out a way of making it. There's going to be a lot of work to be done. Make that work beneficial for yourself and for future, your parents, everybody around. Thank you.